Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. The 14th. Okay, so CPI. This is what we've been waiting for all y'all since last week, really, right? Oh man. And let's see here. Core inflation rate month over month. We're looking for a reading of spot 3 with the regular inflation rate at spot 4. Previous reading at spot 5. I think that would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if it came in at spot 5. If it came in lower, if it came in at like a spot 2 or a spot 3, the main one, maybe would be a little skeptical. We'd want to go and read the components and see if there was something that had substantially less inflation than we expected. But I think we got a really interesting situation here where the market is like really waiting on a particular data point, and I'm not convinced that this particular data point is actually going to be really important in the long run. So we might see some really unusual movement afterwards where basically it's like everybody waits and then they go and they do the thing that they've been waiting to do all week, which is probably rates to rise, but we'll see. All right. So let's come to the charts because the equity markets continue to be in turmoil. So we zoom in here. Another day of losses on the 13th, but then they bid right back up to even, and it looks like they were able to save the day somehow. What was 7:30? What was the what did they open at? Well, I don't know if they really completely like recovered, but there was a pretty strong bid going into the close, a little bit lower overnight. And nothing too well. It does look like the NQ kind of doing. There's definitely some shuffling around. In particular, RTY is particularly weak. Okay, small caps have like really taken on the nose. Okay, so here's the Treasury. As you can see, we're still like just back to the levels that we started last week at. So we'll see, you know, if they break lower here, then we'll get a strong move today. Oil's going higher, looking good. You know, I don't typically cover it, but natural gas, by the way, has been looking very, very good too. Like there's a lot of concerns over heating in Europe. So gold kind of heading a little bit lower. At the moment, we shall see. If this the CPI could affect gold the most, right? Could see a really big. Well, we could see a really big rise in gold and silver. We could see a really big puke in gold and silver. Copper coming off of the, you know, a really stellar past 3 days or so. So not sure where that's going to go. Currencies. We'll start with the dollar. The dollar is still looking fairly strong, but, you know, backing off a little bit here. And then Bitcoins. Bitcoin's having the huge move yesterday, but it ultimately, them completely ignoring it. So I really think that news yesterday was, the fact that it happened and everything is like a really big negative for the cryptocurrency market, but what do I know? Now this light on over here is too high. Maybe even 15%. We'll keep it right there. All right. And how are we? Oh, you know what? I don't have it listed. That would be a problem. Public. Having it so that you can actually see the stream might help. Setting up so that you can actually see the stream might help. Oh, it says that it couldn't update it. Well, YouTube is being weird today. YouTube being a little weird. Privacy public. We're going. I think it should be fine. Okay, well, we got 5 minutes here until the news happens, so let me just see. Randy, I had to search through your page to find the live stream. That's interesting. You know what happened was YouTube set the privacy to unlisted for some reason. There's a setting here in stream settings now where you can automatically unlist afterwards. Where did it go? It's not even there. Oh, unlist live play once live stream ends. And I have that on. So then the next time that I started the stream, it started as unlisted. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Whatever. All right, let's turn on Financial Juice. You know what I need to do here with NQ is I need to get it so that this is just all the way over here. There. Better. $1.35. So it's interesting to me that the interest rates seem to have been rising, but not. The 10-year has been a little bit disconnected from the actual rates. Let's see, I got that going. There we go. Looks like people are coming in now. It's a little bit of buying into this. Well, look at the 30-year in particular. Is somebody putting on a steepener here? What could happen is this news comes out and it's just in line and the 30-year could get crushed. Got about 1 minute. There's the pull. Interestingly enough, the micro's not pulling there. Oh, now they pulled. One of the market makers pulled at least. The other one did not. Whew. Yeah, now the liquidity's gone. Okay, it's 0 spot 3, so lower than forecast. Let's come in and read the actual report here. Let's turn that off for a second. Equities like it. Treasury's moving higher here. I'm not detecting any flattening yet, though. Okay, so what is lower here? Okay, so gasoline inflation was decreased. Oh, so let's come back over here. The CPI was spot 3. The core CPI was spot 1. Okay. Electricity. No. Okay, utility piped gas was lower. Commodities, less food and energy commodities was spot 3 versus spot 5. So that was about like in line with the numbers that we would expect, right? Used cars and trucks came back down, so that, you know, now medical care commodities decreased. That's interesting. Transportation services decreased. Shelter was only spot 2. That's one to note. Spot 2. And let's see here. Spot food was still spot 4. But I mean, that's a lot better than what it had been like the last 2 months, right? Food, energy. Shall we check Twitter? Trading Floor Audio says transitory ? Well, those those month over month numbers are about what they want them to be, right? Shall we turn on J4 now? Wee. Oh, now that's interesting. Oh, okay, yeah. So it's like we were originally at spot 1 spot 350, right? In the 10-year. They really moved up. It's come back to where that was. And that's interesting. You would think that you would want to be going short here, the rates and long prices, but yeah. Like, again, I think that this... Okay, so what did I say when we came in here? First, if it's a little bit lower, we really want to go through the report and kind of see why. But then after that, it's kind of just like the big bad number is out of the way. Maybe they go and they do what they wanted to do to begin with. So like that move in the E-mini, that really looks like really positive, right? I mean, it wouldn't have been good if the inflation had been high. But I'm still a little questionable about should this really have a long-term impact. It may just be we have this move up and then they turn around and they do what they wanted to do originally. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the rates end up higher at the end of the day. For now, though, let's kind of let it play out a little bit, because if that's what we want to do, we don't necessarily want to get involved right now. My nose really itches, holy crap. It's just dry, I guess. All right, how are we doing? Okay, it looks like everybody got it in. Sorry, when I started the stream, for some reason, YouTube decided to make it unlisted. So I didn't realize that. So I turned that on. We'll see where we go. Oh, and I do have the text-to-speech on, right? Yes, good. Very good. And I turned on Jay. Okay. And I can turn this back on so that you guys can hear the alerts. Hello, Ao. How are you? So you mean he's still doing it, right? They may have reached a potential spot right here. Right? Yeah. It looks like this is, if we were to say this is like really good news and the S&P 500 should move up all day, this would be the point at which you would be looking for the pullback, right? You think the crypto market will exist in 5 to 10 years? Man. Well, I'm sure that it will probably exist in some form, but it will be very different from what it is today, right? 5 to 10 years, won't Bitcoin be all mined out? Because once Bitcoin is all mined out, I think that the dynamics change considerably. Why isn't CPI reflected in price? What do you mean by that? I mean, the CPI news came out and we moved, right? What are some of the drawdowns of trading news? Well, I'll tell you, the big drawdown of trading news, NASDAQ trader, is when you don't understand what's going on, right? So, for instance, last week, we didn't really understand, or at least incorrectly estimated, the impact that demand coming into those auctions last week would have affected the Treasury market. And so the Treasuries moved up big time. We didn't expect them to. And you wouldn't think of that as news, but trading the auctions, that kind of is like trading news, right? So that's the really big wild card in that, because every time you're trading news, it's a different situation. It's something new, and you might not understand it correctly, especially you being a retail trader and everything, right? But that's kind of where it comes down to, like, either you're good at it or you're not. How do you just got to know as much as you can. Okay, they coming back hard there. I don't know, man. This is very sporadic. Basically, the price movements in the treasuries are very quick and sporadic still. They're still they're still moving like it was non-farms right there. And so CPI can be negative and price go up. Is that normal? Yes. So let's walk back through what happened here. CPI is what? A measure of consumer prices. So they're measuring inflation. If consumer prices went up less than expected, low inflation tends to be good for stocks, right? Because that means that there is not as much concern or need to raise interest rates. So you're not going to raise interest rates, then you should see the treasuries buy up, the interest rates lower, and the stock market rise. So what we're seeing in correlations is almost exactly what I would have thought that we should get. Oh, we should move this over here so you can see. Dollar getting a little bit weaker, right? Now that is odd, actually. Well, maybe not, actually. I think what the market is trying to tell us here, beyond like your usual currency correlations, or sorry, your usual commodity interest rate correlations. But the dollar is getting weaker, which I think kind of suggests that this CPI number being very mild means that a lot of the risk in the market is gone. So they don't want to be in the dollar as much. So the gold went up. There's not as much risk, and if interest rates are going to be lower for longer, then that weakens the dollar, right? Oh, that's kind of funny. I wonder if we could have set up a trade here where we could have gone short the dollar either way. Because if the inflation was really strong, that could also hurt the dollar, right? But you knew beforehand that if CPI is below expectations, it will go up, right? Yes, if you had asked me about the S&P 500 before, I would have said that if the CPI is slightly under expectation, that the equities will probably buy. I'm not sure that I would have seen the correlation coming into the dollar, but I think we can come into an explanation of it. And when we look at the overall market, I don't see anything out there really deviating from that storyline. What about Bitcoin? Did Bitcoin move off of it? Bitcoin moved up a little bit off of it. The question is, where does it go from here? But note again, so the treasuries are a little bit higher. The treasuries are like 4 ticks higher, right? Interest rate isn't. The interest rate is still right at 1.35, like it was before the news. I feel my next step in trading is the news too. If it moves, I'm in it. Well, trading the news, I think, is a very effective way to trade, right? I mean, understanding liquidity is super, super important, but retail traders just aren't as competitive there. You have to find a really immature market that has a lot of inefficiency in it. But it's really when you start combining the things that you really get an understanding and you see where it's going, right? And the nice thing about news is that sometimes they leave huge inefficiencies behind. Like just for instance, this move is probably a really great example. If the Federal Reserve comes out next week, is it next week, I believe? And they're really hawkish, and we're gonna taper and all of this stuff because everything looks great, then these treasuries are gonna plummet down. And it doesn't matter what the CPI was, right? But for now, they don't have that data point. They can't. They're pricing in what we just learned about the CPI. Okay, so it looks like I'm just noticing Future Charge 71 tweeting and showing that the E-mini still hasn't completely rolled over, that it's about 75% complete, which I'm actually surprised. I thought everybody would move over a little bit faster. News squawk shelter prices losing momentum, which is a promising sign given that is a sector that inflation is harder to brush off as transitory. Yeah, but that could be interesting because some of the moratorium and so forth ended. We're not getting like that doomsday scenario. Remember, everybody was like, oh no, once the housing moratorium ends, the housing market is going to crash. And I don't know. Nassim Nicholas Taleb never explained why something is important. Okay. Hmm. I'm just reading back through Twitter here, going further back. Brannigan Barrett, if you don't think stagflation is coming, you're not paying attention. Your third largest economy is subsidizing energy costs. What happens when inflation is rising and you raise less taxes? See, that number right there, I think, puts a really big hole in the inflation narrative. Do you think the E-mini will roll over like how it has done the last... Oh, you mean like we'll have another decline off of the open? Oh, I don't know, man. So the issue that I think we face here with trading today is that I believe that the most significant reason why equities have had a hard time this month is because like the global credit impulse, like the amount of money printing and available to markets has been declining. Like it was really insane there for COVID, and China in particular is letting off the gas pedal. So I think that that's one of like the biggest factors that we've been going on. That and just like overall seasonality and the equities just being crazy overvalued and stuff. Like that's probably why the small caps have been hit as hard as they have, because the retail traders that have been buying things up and buying things to overvalued focus mostly on small cap stocks, right? So this CPI number is something that has a direct impact on the money printing out there, right? This CPI number being a little bit low kind of says that they can take their time, right? Favorite scenario is transitory inflation. Fed won't panic with numbers like that, says Alligator in Discord. So, you know, I think that that's a really good driver for E-mini, and them being up 44.75. I mean, they got a pretty good 20-point move off of that, right? Something I've noticed recently is that the market always seems to have a slight correction around the week of future expiration. Yeah. There's a chart about like with the options and everything, pointing out that like they seem to decline a little bit going into options, and then after it they really decline, and then it's like a game on again. Oh my gosh, did you guys see this? We can talk politics for a second. So Ocasio-Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, went to a big Washington, D.C. party of sorts that apparently is a pretty extravagant party, and she wore a dress that says "Tax the Rich," which seems like an incredibly I don't know, probably you get a lot of flack for doing that at that kind of an event, but then you get the publicity that you want anyways, right? Let's see, what's Brannigan saying? Current all-time high in U.S. equities was made on non-farms payroll Friday. Bad data is bad for stocks. ESNQ bond curves are flattening on the back of market signaling this is peak demand for this cycle. Watch equities closely today at the open. It'll be a little bit of a brawl, I think. Make sure that we got all of these up the top. Is it going to be a little bit of a brawl here? I don't think it makes sense for me. Well, I think that it actually makes a lot of sense to be making moves right now. But since I'm not 100% sure what I want to do, I'm just going to kind of sit back. T.S. Lombard, I don't know who that is, but Carl Twintel is quoting him. The August CPI data confirms that the hyperventilating concerns about hyperinflation back in the string were just that, hyperventilation. Economies do not normally grow 10% in 12 months in real terms without price impact, especially when supply is impaired. When I ask you a question about raw data that you saw when you work for Goldman Sachs, is there futures? No, absolutely not. Nothing comes even close. But you realize that the data that I'm talking about, I'm not talking about your ability to see the orders and everything else. I mean, I think that their data is a little bit better, but I think you roughly get about what they had there, although they kind of calculate different metrics and stuff and things that I didn't understand. Where their data comes from is all sorts of other data, right? Like every tiny little piece of information that you can possibly imagine real time, you know? Like for instance, something that's going on right now, shipping rates are increasing, right? So if you can see what the shipping costs are for something, you can make more accurate predictions of how much money a certain company is going to make, right? These are the sorts of things that they were factoring into their models for equities. Yeah, efficient market hype tweets, the curve steepening on the CPI miss tells you all that you need to know. That is an important point. That is an important point. The 5-year, the 5-year came back up a lot more. So last week we were getting this flattening and it was like, why? Now it's steepened back out. If I had been able to hold that trade on, I would probably be making some good money right now on the steepener. But to me, that kind of suggests that even though the treasuries are moving up right now, that might flip back around, right? I mean, the book and the futures data feed, how is it different from, say, Rhythmic? Well, it's not going to do any kind of filtering or anything. It's just going to be the feed that's direct from the exchange. But other than that, I don't think that that's really, the differences are going to be anything that would be material. Nothing that would be material to retail traders. Pentagon no plans to send investigators to Afghanistan to scrutinize U.S. drone strike. Ugh. That whole story is really sad. I don't want to get into it. Okay. Is gold going to take another leg up here? They're looking kind of like they're going to go for it. I think gold could make it back to 1800. They're all going to filter to some extent, NASDAQ trader. Like, it's going to get to the point, like, if I can't send the data out to everybody, I'm going to start combining packets. But again, like, it doesn't matter. I really don't think it matters. You know, if you're really worried about knowing, seeing this, you know, seeing the limit add one order at a time as opposed to a couple of hundred at a time during a fast market, then use the MBO data. Get the Rhythmic data with the market by order. Spend the extra $100 a month. It's probably not going to make you more money, though. Maybe some other things that you can do with MBO are going to make a difference, but that particular thing, I think it's kind of nice to see, but I haven't been able to find that it actually makes a difference. Okay, there's the Treasury's back up at highs. It's not. I'm not seeing the curve move, at least not in the 5 on the 30 side of the curve. I am seeing it in the 2s and 10s. Like the 10-year moved down, 2-year didn't. Is MBO more complete? I mean, what do you think is complete? Anwar says there was news. There was CPI. Yeah, it does. I don't know if CQG has the MBO data yet. I'm sure that they will at some point. But you just got to remember, like, what does the MBO data let you see? The MBO data lets me see at 133.15, how much of that is one order, right? Are there a bunch of big guys sitting there and that's why that price is higher? Or is it just one person? There's some new highs in the treasuries. No, it doesn't work like that. See, what MBO does is normal data just tells you the straight number that's there. MBO shows you a change in every order. So I don't know what MBO does when things get really, really fast. Maybe it's a problem when things get really, really fast. I don't know. Now it's moved like news. Okay. Her name. Still moving because they're still pricing in the CPI. It takes them a very long time. To, the liquidity in the market is not enough to handle the amount of movement and orders that come in off of news like the CPI here. Okay, curious. So I am seeing the E-mini come back a little bit now. The sex should sell me data, please. And I think that you're a little bit overly concerned about the data. Like, it's the MBO data could potentially provide you with some other metrics to look at that would be fun. I don't know if they provide an advantage or not. We would have to do a real study on it, which I haven't had the opportunity to do. But the speed of the level 2 changes, you're talking about milliseconds difference. No, it doesn't matter to any human. U.S. dollar slides as team transitory scores a win on the August U.S. CPI report. Well, now I should say, by the way, I've always felt that the inflation is transitory, but if the economy continues to strengthen, I do think that we'll continue to see pretty strong or pretty good inflation in line with what the Federal Reserve wants. So this idea that the interest rates are going to stay low, I think, is a little bit silly. But then the other thing is that I don't think that it's like you're out of the woods yet either, because there are still some really big concerns about shipping and supply and things like that. There's still things out there that are like going up in price and hard to get your hands on. There's still like a chip shortage, for instance. So I don't think that this story there is over. I'm sure that we'll have future months where there are some surprises in inflation. Certainly, though, this kind of wipes off the scenario, even though I think it was really already dead. This is a scenario where we get hyperinflation and everybody's the economy is falling apart because of hyperinflation, or the stagflation scenario. I think that kind of takes that off the table for now. Something interesting going on here in the 10-year at 10 and 10.5. It's a little bit of size at 10, and maybe some iceberg going on at 10.5. And the 5 years coming back. Is this steepener gonna reverse on us a little bit? I don't know. And the E-mini kind of turned back a little bit. And my robot has decided that he wants to buy. Which is correct. That's what he should have done. Yep. Yep, that's what he should have done. A trader is someone who knows how to lose money without getting used to it, says Taleb. Okay, it looks like they took it down at 10 and now 9.5 as well. So that size that they were showing was nothing. I'm tempted to go long rates here, but I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if the timing is very good right now, because probably we're just going to, daddle around here for the next 30 minutes until the equity market opens. Then we'll see if the equity market takes this as a reason to just buy, or if they're still bearish. AC turning on feels good. Do you trade manually? I've mostly manually, yeah. I have bots, but they kind of run in the background, and those are mostly experiments. So we'll see if this one, how he does. He bought. He actually would have gotten really close to taking profits there, but yeah, Treasury's still at 10. Might be stuck there. 10, 10.5, probably the point of control. Now, let's see here. Yeah, those are all the significant news today. Tomorrow we got like import prices, manufacturing, core retail sales on Thursday. Wednesday could be, Wednesday, there's always a possibility of Wednesday being a big day, though. Because just a lot of money gets put to work on Wednesdays. US CPI eases in August, though still remains high, tweets. Breaking market news, financial juice. How long have your experiment bonds been trading? Well, so this one right here that I'm running right now, it's only the second day of trading it with these kinds of parameters. So kind of what happened, I spent most of the first half of this year kind of developing a bunch of different robots. Most of them didn't survive the cut. Then I had this one that looked very, very promising. It actually performed pretty okay in real time, performance-wise, but it wasn't really actually taking the trades that I wanted it to. It was only taking like a trade at one time of day, and it wasn't. So even though the performance was okay, it wasn't really what I was going for. So I kind of tried to redesign that algorithm. Like, it was the same concept, but redesigning the way that I look for the imbalance. Now I've got something that does seem to take some trades. So now I'm just running it to see if the performance of it on real-time data matches the backtesting data, because they rely very much on order flow, and so there's a higher probability of it not backtesting correctly. So we'll see how it does. Although it looked really good. It wasn't like a sharp ratio over 1. I think it was like 0.7, but it did appear to be making money and was pretty consistent. So I was pretty happy with what it was showing me. We'll see. It went long. We'll see how it goes. Facebook knew Instagram was toxic for teens, internal documents show. No. They knew? Shocked. Like 33 wouldn't be too bad. You're kind of stepping in front of a train there, though, with 33. One spot, 33. Treasury's pressuring the upside again. They're looking a little aggressive now. I don't know if they can actually break the 12 right now. I don't think that I could really be making a bet on that, though. Timing and situation doesn't seem quite right for new highs, but let's see. They could definitely, they've definitely got the reason to do it, right? China to sell 7.38 million barrels of crude from their reserve on September 24th. Is that old news? I don't see oil moving to that one. Oh, by the way, gold did build on its gains and is now back to the 1800 level. Jeff Bridges says getting COVID-19 made cancer look like a piece of cake. What? I guess for him probably would have been. If you used market replay, if you encountered a problem where your bot enters the market multiple times, giving you false profit targets. Okay, so I have not used market replay first of all. I don't know. I've just never really found the need for that because it's always like, well, I can just run it on live data tomorrow, you know? But the problem where your bot enters the market multiple times, giving you false profit targets is a issue that you'll run into a lot, especially when you are new. Because what you will often do is you'll set up a trade where it's like, I'm on an oscillator and the oscillator goes back and forth like this. And when it crosses this line, I want to buy. And when it crosses this line, I want to sell, right? And generally speaking, that works most of the time. But then what happens is you get into a quiet market. It should be going like this. And then all of a sudden it does this. And then it takes a trade every time, right? And so the first thing that you should do is always make sure in your back tests that you're including your commissions, right? Because that'll show up in your commissions. That's just a lot of commissions, right? Also, like I would keep an eye on number of trades per day. So let me show you. So like the thing number one is detecting it, like, because you don't want to do this. You go through the back test and then later on you realize, oh, that was happening and I didn't realize it. Let's see if I can. So here was J. Let's see if it will let me see. Okay, so you can see J takes 9 trades a day, so he might do something like that. If I come into analysis, no, it's not going to let me do that. I'll let it generate the report, but I think that when I do that it tends to not work. Yeah, I'm going to have to run it and we'll come back to it. Okay. Anyways, so but the bigger thing is that like a threshold cross tends not to be the best signal, unfortunately. Like that's kind of where, you know, it's much better. I have found at least that a much better signal is just something that doesn't happen very often. You know, like say we're doing a moving average crossover, right? That happens a lot. Every time that price changes, there's a cross, you know, and moving average crossovers can happen a lot. Okay. Whereas, let's say like maybe a candlestick pattern, for instance, a candlestick pattern, those are more rare. You get a particular candlestick pattern, it only happens like 1% of bars or whatever the deal is. So whatever the sample of trades that you take ends up being much better distributed because you don't get a bunch of trades in the spot that were, you know. So, but of course the issue with a candlestick is that then you might not be getting it in the kind of market where it's really actually favorable to you, which is probably why candlestick patterns are really just like random. So as far as I can tell, they can kind of trick you, but from the stats that I see, it looks like it's just random, and that it's just what it will work really well for like a year or two, and then it will flip. So yeah. And that's where you'll add filters and things like that. You know, like with this trade that it's been doing, I have it taking like 9 trades a day. I would prefer that to be more like 3 or 4. So that gives me room to try and find where the algorithm gets tripped up and filter those out. Encoding overloaded? What? Maybe it's time to just bite on the getting a new card with the better encoder. Okay, let's hear. Oh, actually, they did bust a new high, didn't they? Because it was 11.5 was the high before. Yeah, I think that they did kind of make a new trade, but it wasn't. There wasn't much fanfare on it. Apparently, they're not really fighting that. Oh, you know what? It's probably giving me that message because I'm hitting my CPU from doing the backtest. Okay, so the robot finally got his trade. He didn't take very much profit on it, unfortunately. There was a lot more unfavorable than favorable excursion on that trade for him. I wonder though. Might have been worth holding. There's a little bit more significant tick up there. It's coming back hard though. Looks like they made their push, but that there's still a little bit of a hole here behind them. Yeah, well, NASDAQ trader, I don't think that you necessarily want to be in a position as the news happens, unless you have a really strong reason to think that it's going to go one way or another, right? On that particular news, I did suspect that it could be lower, right? I didn't, if you had asked me the last CPI, the scenario where the inflation was lower than expected, I wouldn't have even considered it. This time I at least knew that it was a possibility, but I didn't think that was going to happen. Compare that to the non-farms payroll number, right? I knew I was pretty positive that it was going to be lower than the forecast, and I had a lot of research that backed that up. Right. So I was willing to take the trade. Unfortunately, it did not go my way still. It did go my way initially, and then the treasuries reversed really quickly, which was just really, oh man. Really troubling to me. Okay. You know what? Nintendo needs to get a Final Fantasy 1 on the Switch, man. That's what needs to happen. Okay, so here you can see, here's the back tests from this, right? Now, no, it's only to the beginning of this year. Okay, and it's running off of tick replay, so there could be inaccuracies in this, but it looks like it's doing pretty good. If we come back to the analysis here, it's getting a pretty good win rate, and its average winning trade is a little bit higher. So just off of the percentages and all of this, it looks like a solid trade, although it doesn't take nearly as many short trades, right? But that's just the market that we're in. But that's another thing. Long trades and short trades are profitable. And Sharpe ratio, well, at least on the long trades is above spot 5, which is good. Okay. So coming back to the analysis here, if I go to net profit, for instance, okay, so you don't want to, or even like this here, let's do it this way instead, actually. Period number. Okay, so some days it didn't trade very much at all, and some days it did take a bunch of trades, right? So we might want to investigate that. Did I see 19? Okay, so that one right there, 2519. So if I change this to chart, I'm going to go all the way back to that day. Oh boy. I have to remember, how do you go to date? There's a key, there's a shortcut. NinjaTrader, go to date. Jump to date. Oh, you have to click on the scroll bar. That's what it is. Okay, so we wanted February 3rd, right? Okay. There we go. Oh, wait, did I? That's a problem. Wait, do I have that turned on in the strategy? I need to fix that. So maybe my backtest is a little screwy. Maybe my backtest is a little screwy. No. I don't know why I backtested it like that. Okay, so let's redo it. Let's redo it and see how that changes things. That might make things a lot worse. We'll see. You use price action and trigger trade from a good signal bar, but I was testing at one tick profit targets to get no, can't do that. So by the way, Vibi, I have a bunch of videos about this on the channel. So if you go back to the channel, there's like a playlist that is like the strategy development, and it's a series of 4 videos. And it's a lot. I mean, it's like 2 hours worth of information. And it's not 100% geared just towards automated trading, but it's a very much, like I think it should be useful to discretionary traders, but it's very much automated trading. And I talk about all of these little issues. So if you're only going for like one tick targets, right? The issue with that is, especially if you're like doing a 1 minute bars, right? Like if you're doing this and you're using 1 minute bars, then almost every bar is going to have a range more than a tick, right? So how does the simulator know, given those parameters, whether you will hit the target first or the stop first, right? If your target and stop is less than the average range of the bar, then that on its own makes your results less likely to be reliable, right? And so then what you can do is you can do the you can increase your fill resolution. So you can do like a 1 minute, would run it on a 1 minute chart, but run it with 1 second or even 1 tick data underneath, right? Well, when you do that, it's going to take forever to back test, right? But then you're still like 1 tick, right? So if it's 1 tick, like just a few orders hitting into it could make a difference or not, right? So for ultra high frequency trading sort of a thing, NinjaTrader backtest are not really going to work. So I would recommend that if you're going to make an automated trading system, that, you know, in the E-mini, you're probably going to have more accurate results if you're looking for like 12 to 16 ticks, right? And you could probably get away with doing like 8 ticks if you use the right time frame. But once you start getting below like 4, then I would start to wonder if the market will really, if that trade will really translate over to live. Use a 200 tick bar. So that's another problem, is that if you're using bars that aren't time-based, you can run into a situation. What if there were 2,000 ticks all within half a second, right? Like, you can get into this situation where the bars are going faster than your computer has the ability to calculate them. That can happen too. So I would always be really skeptical of non-time-based bars for that reason. Although if I was going to pick one that wasn't time-based, it probably would be the tick ones. Definitely, like when you get into like range bars and stuff like that, there's real problems with those ones. And often you'd think that, oh, like that's not a big deal, but like it's a really common problem, because if you backtest with range bars, you actually are more likely to get something that tells you that it works really, really well, even though it's not going to run live. Thanks for taking. Well, but that's why I am here, man. Why do you think it would be no fun for me if nobody ever came in and asked questions like that? But that whole video, I have so much info. Like, I went in and was like, okay, here's all these things that you got to worry about. And I was like, it was like 10 pages. So I split it up into 4 videos. And then the fourth one, I give you some like advanced stuff too. So, or at least I kind of hint at some of the more advanced things that you can look at. Okay, here we go. So this is a little better. It's not nearly as much money, right? Not nearly as many trades. Maybe I should let it do multiple entries per direction. That's interesting. But probably what it was doing was basically ending up doubling down on things. Okay. But the metrics still match. The only thing that really changed was the total net profit, right? Okay, so now let's come back into the analysis and let's see, on a daily period, are there days where it just took like a really obscene number of trades? Okay, well, there is one day where it took 12 here, right? That was the 15th of February. So I can come into the chart now and I can click on the bar and look for February 15th. February 15th, which was a Monday. Okay, so it looks like he does potentially have this issue where he is getting that threshold problem, right? He's taking a bunch of trades that don't really do anything. Now that's really interesting, actually. What happened on February 15th? That's actually really weird. Let's see here. February, can I see that far back on my volume chart? I don't think I can. Yeah, no, I only see back to May. So I have to come to my daily chart. Where is it? Daily ES. It was just a really quiet day for some reason. Okay, so how can we deal with this? One thing is that I already have a filter built into it to use the level 2. So we could turn that on and that might help filter out a bunch of those trades. Also, I could come in and I could say if the overnight range is too low, then I won't trade it. That could be good. Now 2-9 was a day like that too. I wonder. Yeah, it did. It took a couple of a couple of them. You can see though that when you come to this cumulative net profit, you can see at the beginning of the year it didn't necessarily do super great. Nice thing about this is that it looks like it catches some good runners. We could maybe change it so that if it's in a trade and it's got some profit, that it really tries to let it run. That might improve it even more. So I should look into that. There we are, 16.5. Okay. This might just go all day. Another thing that we want to look at is like these MAE, MFE, right? So like, look at that. There are hardly any trades where it went more than, oh, you know what though? Probably these were all ones where if we do it with a higher time frame. So because these are, what are these? 5-second bars, really? Even with 5-second bars, there's a couple of these where they took like way more than what the stop was supposed to be. So there kind of suggests to me that if I increase the fill resolution, that it might backtest a little bit differently, right? MFE. Yeah, some of them like a really run. Although there were apparently some that had a lot of favorable excursion and didn't get out, which is also concerning. A couple of those, like almost all of these, you know, I get 30 and it ends up being a loser. Although interestingly enough, doesn't look like there's very many that didn't get at least a little bit of profit. So it does kind of look like, you know what we could probably try and do here. Well, I don't want to do that. This is still testing. You know, like I don't necessarily expect this to be profitable because I've just only barely been doing the, you know, the back testing on it the other day. But I just, yeah, made a little change, did some back testing, come over here to look at it. Okay, yeah, it looks good. He's short right now, interestingly enough. I think I would rather come in and try and do it, where is it? Fill resolution high. Oh, that's right. Fill resolution is not available when tick replay is enabled. I have to go back and change the, yeah. I'll do it. I'll do it right now. So I'm not sure I really want to take a trade here. The E-mini is going now. By the way, I haven't seen Ace. Haven't seen Win either. Haven't seen Uzi either. Oh, they must have all came in and been like, oh, he's not streaming today because it was unlisted at the very beginning of the day. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna edit it. So if you're using tick replay and you want to use a higher fill resolution, then what you got to do is you got to come in and add the series yourself, which is what I will do here. So, bars data period type dot second, and it will be a 5-second chart. Okay, so then when I come in here, oh, I think I need to change this to be, yeah, bars array of 1. Okay. Oh, I have this trend filter on that I'm not even using. That's funny. I have a bunch of stuff in there that it's not actually using at the moment. But for future reference when that happens. Okay. See, I'm using running imbalance, right? Yeah. So, running imbalance. Bars array of 1. Okay. Hopefully that's correct. You know what, 9,000 for the year is still not bad. And profit factor in the 1.2 isn't too bad. I mean, these sorts of things are like really tight tolerances and everything, but like all of the numbers look okay. It's just, it's not spectacular. Maybe though. Yeah, what happened? I was looking for your stream. So when I started the stream, apparently I had it unlisted at the beginning. So it didn't show up for you guys at the beginning. But like I immediately changed it. So it should be showing up for everybody now. But it was just those of you that like really come in like first thing in the morning and beat me to the stream might not have found it. Yeah. Which sucks, but that's okay. Okay, so I've got that running now. It's going to take a long time because it's running on the 1 tick data series. Now we'll see if it changes. Oh, it didn't even give you the reminder. That's interesting. Well, when we set up the stream for tomorrow, we'll be double sure to check that, and we'll make sure you get. And if you don't get the reminder tomorrow, let me know. Do you have the bell icon checked? Does your bot use the super dominant? Does. Well, at the moment it doesn't, but it has the stuff built in for it to utilize that. Yeah, you have the bell icon checked. I need to do better at that. I need to do better at the marketing. Like it's so hard because on one hand it's like, okay, like we have to be responsible. We're not going to go and make extravagant claims or give misleading information to people or do a lot of the really sketchy stuff that I see a lot of marketers doing. But at the same time, I feel like I have a duty to you guys to make this stream as successful as possible, and that should help you guys, because that's more people to draw from and more edge for us to potentially gather together, right? But I guess I'm not particularly good at marketing in the first place, and I was thinking about that the other day, like my cryptocurrency indicator, really good at picking tops and stuff. I'm realizing now, like, I didn't brand it correctly. Like really what I should be calling it is the Buffett indicator for stocks, or sorry, the Buffett indicator for cryptos. Because that's really kind of what it's doing. Of course, it's how you translate it to that is kind of okay, but like you use it in the same kind of way. It's a way of telling you how overvalued the market is, right? A lot of volume on both sides of the E-mini. Well, for the moment, the volume looks negative, so We shall see, I guess. Hold on, let me pull up the NinjaTrader control center here, probably because of the back test that's going. Any news on the Walmart Litecoin? I haven't heard anything about it ever since. You know what is actually kind of funny is so when that happened yesterday, I was like, I need to make a TikTok about this. It will be so popular, yada yada yada. No. The Bitcoin guys, they don't want to talk about that stuff. Like everybody just like swept it under the rug and pretended it didn't happen. Isn't that funny? So we'll see where it goes from here, but never made the news here. Yeah, it was. It seems like a big deal to me. Like, of course, scams like this happen all the time in the cryptocurrency sphere, but I don't think I've ever seen a situation where the news got tricked so badly. I mean, I didn't check it. I saw the press release and I saw that they were, legitimate news. All of the legitimate news outlets were tweeting it. So what am I supposed to do when the regular news outlets that actually get the emails aren't verifying stuff, Well, it's because I remember I was saying, I guess this would be big news. Like, this will probably continue way more. And then when it came back, I said, it could plummet, but it didn't plummet. It was nobody really actually truly reacted to it. It's kind of a little sketchy there. Yeah. But you know what that says to me is that there is just not a lot of activity in the cryptocurrency sphere right now. Like these moves up are really deceptive and I think manipulated because the public interest, as far as I can tell, is not really there. It's still just the crypto heads. Must be there. No, I'm sure that it was. Well, who knows where they were from, but it was some set of scammers. Whoever did it was fairly sophisticated because how did they have the emails and the information for all of the news outlets and stuff, right? And they had registered the domain long before they did it. It was planned out, coordinated and everything. Yeah, so far, this is not looking very positive for the E-mini. Deltas are all negative off of the open. Although I would say it's a very mixed and quite slow open. It's quite slow, and probably some of the things that we look at in terms of the directionality of orders and things might be less reliable because there is still some activity in the older expiry. Do you know Bitcoin is controlled by only a handful? Well, I know that these whales have a pretty big impact on it. Really, when I look at Bitcoin, it really looks to me like Tether is printing money for 2 hedge funds, and they're causing all of the price movement. That's what it looks like to me. And I think that they've been trying to pump it up to generate interest, and the issue is that since it peaked in the beginning of the year, and since then people haven't been as interested, which you should expect, actually. What do we always say? Best trade is the first trade. Best trade is usually the first trade. You get like high public interest and like they had in Dogecoin. It's almost impossible to get a second wave that's bigger. When that first wave was that big, you know? No, I don't think that well, I shouldn't say that we've seen the high of the year in Bitcoin. If it wasn't for Tether, we would have seen the high of the year in Bitcoin. With Tether, who knows what happens. Now, here on the treasuries, I'm thinking about the ZN, and I'm like, how high can this go? I don't know. I don't think that this particular piece of news really changes my view of the treasury market. I think this could come back. Twos and tens flattened, but not the 30. Oh, 5 and 30s reverted to. Should I reset the DOMs here? I wish my back test was done. I want to talk about the back test. Well, you know what though, that when I did that back test that I had multiple entries turned on is a problem. Yeah, because part of what I liked about it was that it was taking so many trades per day and I could filter it down. So that is a problem, I think. Oh, it finished. Okay, so it did do what I said. So it took about the same number of trades, but you can see that it's a little bit more net profit because it's trying to calculate the stops more accurately. So if I come back into the analysis, we should see that MAE should be much more limited at 16. Yep. Because you don't get these there's a 5-second bar that apparently had the bunch of times where it was like big excursion and it should stop out. So how does that change our MAE? Oh, there you go. I like that. Minus 13 and 16. That's good. So the not having the having the cut and reverse trades really helps. Overall 49%, and on the short trades a 51% win rate. Wow, really? Oh, but you know what? The average winning trade isn't as good on that one. So it's not, doesn't look like. And what's the largest winning trade? Well, it did get at least one that really ran. Oh, it's just the graphs showing. Sorry. Over here. I move it over here. Okay, so now if we come back to, probably shouldn't do it on the chart, huh? So if we come into this, do those ones in February. Okay, so it's still doing those ones in February. See, like there's probably like 6 trades in there that we could filter out. Funny that it's a win rate of 58% on that too. Actually, there's kind of, that's kind of interesting. There might be some problems with this. So I'm noticing that there's a lot of like 0% days in here. It kind of looks like some of the win rate is on trades that were super tiny. Good morning, Caleb. Some were on trades that were super tiny, right? Adverse excursion is pretty consistent. Now that's interesting. When are you going to take Jay live on the MES along? I don't think he's ready at all. He's doing pretty good today, though. So I made the change from yesterday to be like, hey, you should stop out if you get to a certain point. And that I guess that wouldn't matter today, but I think that was a good change. But today he's just taking a great trade. Yesterday he caught a loser and he was stuck in it. He wasn't giving it up. So I was like, no, we do need to have the stop in there. MFEs. But you see here, there's a bunch of trades with really good favorable excursion that do not, So I suppose that if I did something where I moved my stop to break even, that would probably really, really help. That would probably really, really help. But anyways, you can see it's actually very rare that I come in and I do that and I run it on a higher resolution and it does better. But note though that the Sharpe ratio is 0.51, so there's some problems. If we do some better risk management on it, then I think we can like really improve it. But it's not amazing. It's just kind of okay. You know what though? Here's the thing that you should, if you want to know more about like the strategy and what it teaches you about maybe where to go and look, is that it's basically like an oscillator on volume rather than price, right? So you do price, you do like a moving average crossover. It's super hard, right? And even the best moving average crossovers only catch like a, basically break even. This one, I've hardly any real fancy stuff in there for it, and I get pretty good results off of it. What does that tell you? Orders move price. Order is a more fertile ground for searching for statistical edges. Is there something else I needed to look at? We could do the Monte Carlo. Okay. The max drawdown's not too bad. What would that be in currency? Do I have to regenerate it? Yeah, I do. I think that the max drawdown on this strategy is not what I would like. It's definitely not what I would like. Yeah, max consecutive losers. 10. Actually, that's not bad. But even in a best case scenario, we're not getting the Sharpe ratio to 1. Yeah, so there's got to be a lot more. If we continue with this strategy, I think that there's a lot more work that needs to be done on it. Although, I wonder if it's not the filtering that we need, because we're already down to a low number of trades. No, what we need to do is better position management, like how to deal with the runners, because it really looks like that's the one that really bothers me, is that when I come in here and I look at the maximum favorable excursion, like look at how many trades were really well into the money, more than your 16 ticks really. And now let's change this back to ticks. Okay, look at how many were more than 16 ticks. Like if I had the take profit added onto this, the win rate would be really high. So we can work on this, so we can we got a setup where we can let our runners run. So I think I'll continue looking at that, but I think I need to find another algorithm to work with too. Right, and like you said, running on a tick chart, you can have hundreds of ticks in a second. Yeah, exactly. Non-time based charts are kind of is just the issue of the live performance doesn't match up. That happens a lot. So we're almost back to where we started. Are we? Oh, and he finally closed his position. He actually tried reversing there a little bit and almost immediately stopped out of it, actually. See, he could have just let it keep running. But he was doing the right thing. He did get to the point where it said that it was, an obscene amount. See, this is where, I think that if he's got a runner, that the threshold to get out should be different. You know what I mean? The threshold to get out should be different, and it should have a trailing stop. You try J in a 2 minute. He's running on a 5-second chart. He's running on a 5-second chart. He's mostly looking at orders, right? Well, now that the 10-year is back to 1.3, we've been at that 1.3 area a lot. And that's a spot where I could potentially try playing around. Although, where were we? We were at 5. Could have made almost $50 off of that. That's a lot of noise. No. Well, the whole thing is that it's kind of a good way of filtering out the noise to some extent. Now, there are some other changes that I could still do. Is it trying to buy again, huh? He's going to try buying here a bunch of times and losing it, huh? I tried a dynamic trailing stop for runners. Haven't tried it in a while, but it kept getting stopped too early. Yeah. There's real problems with the trailings. Like the trailing stop doesn't really become relevant unless you've really got a runner. But that's why I'm thinking, what if we did something like, if I get 16 ticks of favorable excursion, I move it to break even. If I get X ticks of favorable excursion, beyond that, then it's a real true runner, and then I just want to let it run and trail. Something like that. This is really turning quite bearish looking here in the E-mini. Well, it doesn't get that's just retracing the move that we had, right? The news move. So we're not to new dangerous lows, or should I even say dangerous? Let's just say interesting new prices until 44.50. You use a 20 tick stop loss and it jumps every 20 ticks. What I would like to do though is, I think you can kind of see. So there's kind of two sides of this. One is there's like this order flow and what this order flow is doing, and how it gets, but it is an oscillator, right? So there's the other side of this, which is like there's probably some principles that should apply to any kind of oscillator indicator, right? So, for instance, if we're really moving down aggressively, like there's like so much strong trend, should he really be trying to reverse here? I don't think he should, right? So that's where you could maybe try filtering it, right? You could say, well, because the daily downtrend is so excessively negative, we will just ignore those buy signals. But then the other side is like, if he's short, he sold it short here, why shouldn't he still be short, right? Well, because it's getting down to these excessively short levels. Well, it seems like when the downtrend is really, really down, that doesn't matter as much. So maybe what I can do is I can say, if it's really excessively negative, that the threshold for reversing is like spot 4 instead of spot 4.5 or something like that. Block buy, huh? Now it's flattening. You should have bought more than 5 contracts. Wow, you were that heavy on it, huh? Good call. I really should have just gone short rates after that. It would have been a good trade, right? I think that more of the fixed income market was waiting on that CPI than I realized. Because what came out on the news doesn't really surprise me. Like, from my perspective, it's like, well, y'all should have expected this, right? Or should have expected that it was possible. And now I'm finding out that, wow, a lot of people had trades on or are putting on trades on because of this move. So I did not predict the change in sentiment very well, did I? But maybe that's because I still have this bias that rates are going to raise at some point. I don't know. It seems though like that this further move is like so we moved up and then there was the open and we kind of backed off a little bit, and then when the S&P 500 really started declining because of the well, I don't know why they really just started declining, but once the S&P 500 really started declining, then the treasuries decided to go up for another leg. So it kind of looks like some risk premium on that, yeah? Oh, you know what? I need to update this. Yeah, these, I didn't move these over. Where is it? Where's ES? QHG. Oh, there it is. It's hiding. There we go. Now we can see it. Same with this one. This one is the big ones, the big orders, right? Maybe I'll move this over a little bit so we can kind of see. That's weird. Short-term one for 30 seconds. There we go. All right. Just do that. And like that. And then move this over, and then we should be able to see the orders coming, the size of the orders coming through. TNX down 3%, yeah. Oh, look, they reversed there really hard. Missed it. Wasn't paying attention. Like the issue that I have is that I still think the Federal Reserve is going to taper. Like, I don't think that 1.3 is sustainable. I think that we're going to go up to 1.5 at some point. Oh, hold on. Picking something up or something? Oh, okay. Your backpack? Oh, okay. Yeah, they just dump their backpacks in this. Oh, they're travel. Yeah, they're acting backpacks. Well, Jay did give up a little bit trying to reverse there and everything, but now he's got a little bit of a winner. She should be trying to take profits here soon, I think. Dollar pushes back up to the upside. Let's see. Yeah. The dollar moving. Gold giving back some of its gains. Oil looking a little bearish at the moment. AO says if the ES breaks 4443. All right, let's mark it. I don't know if it's actually going to do that now. There we go. Yay, dollar. By the way, with NQ there like that, can we? Yeah, we do. Okay, that's cool. They back. Okay, hold on. You say it touched there twice. Doesn't mean it matters. For me, if I'm going to make a trade, I need to have a reason that particular price is going to matter more than just that people think it will matter, right? I wish I had not missed that reversion there in the 10-year. Jay just barely missed his target. Well, that's okay. It might turn back up again, and you might get an even more bigger runner off of it, perhaps. Probably not, though. The essence of the Met Gala is that ultra-rich people pay huge sums to meet and be photographed with celebrities and then deduct their night out from their taxes. Why has no one pointed out that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wore a tax-rich dress to a tax shelter? Oh, man. I didn't even think about that. Okay, here they coming down a little bit more. Will they hold that low, or is there going to be another low? Twitter's obsessed with this dress already. I can see it. Seen a lot of tweets about it now. It's a big story of the day, apparently. Okay. Maybe trying to hold it here. We'll see. I think I would rather just not see us even test AO's 4443. I think that would be more fun. Oh, Salim's sending me his a little bit of a lot, but not as big of a loss as yesterday, so that's good. Or not as big of a loss as what he made yesterday. Because what he made yesterday was a much more, so that's good. Yeah, it's looking a little more positive. Curious. You mean he's kind of suggesting to me that even though they might hold it down here, that they're going to have a little bit more drama before they do it? No social distancing or wearing of masks at the gathering too, yeah. Well, I don't think there's any question at this point that a lot of the what would we say, restrictions that are trying to be imposed by governments are more about coercion than it is about safety, because the politicians don't take it seriously, right? Watching Apple tank 0% now. Oh, is today iPhone Day? I did not know that. That could be a problem. No, Jay. Hang on, Jay. They're going to buy it back up, I hope. I would just really like to see him catch like the huge short on the way down and then the huge long on the way up. I think that'd be so awesome if he did that, but I don't know what's going to happen. It looks pretty churny here. Oh, that was a good little slip up there. Police officers involved in George Floyd case are being arraigned today. I thought that was over. This is a separate thing, I think. I don't think the Fed's trying to save our economy. I think they're milking it. Okay. You know, I did think it was awfully fortuitous that when the two Fed members decided, oh, you know what, maybe owning stocks and like actually trading is not a moral thing to do with given our position, and then the market started to tank. I was like, yes, you got out at exactly the right time. Now, here's Bloomberg says the Treasury yield curve steepened Tuesday as the weaker than expected pace of August consumer price gains took the pressure off Fed officials to begin paring stimulus soon. Except for that we're flatter now, so that one from Bloomberg. That one from Bloomberg is kind of what? Okay. It did steepen, but then it reversed. Those Fed members knew what was coming. Yep. Well, I don't necessarily think that they knew what was coming, but they probably knew that it was a good idea to be taking profits there. Yes. I mean, who didn't? Is that fair to say? Am I like being too? Is that like too backwards looking? I've been saying all summer that there's a really good chance that we're going to see some sort of a swoon when September October comes, just from the seasonality. Like, I think everybody on the street knew. They must have known too. It's looking okay at the moment. So we'll see. You kind of got this ABCD kind of pattern working here. I don't know if that really matters, but well, I shouldn't say I don't know. I tend not to think that it matters, but it's certainly one that's really strong and is hard to not see now. So that there's definitely going to be maybe some resistance at 55. Let's see what happens when we get up there. Sure. Not many contracts traded there. No, probably not. Because it's like the edge of a distribution, right? Oh, that's looking really strong now all of a sudden. Treasury's not reacting to it, though. Gold's still fighting over 1800, by the way. I'm just noticing. I think they came back a little bit and now they're back up to it. Okay, so their attempt to get beyond like the 52 area did seem to meet some resistance, didn't it? Because there was some pretty strong market buying volume in through there, and they weren't able to push through. Now sellers having a turn here. Treasury's pushing back up to the highs. I guess I was wrong on that one. Perfect trade would have been 79 to 45. Oops, need to, okay, keep Twitter up there. Yeah, okay, so 44.50 is a big hole for starters. That's another thing I gotta remember. There's a good amount of volume trading into 20, by the way, like a pretty good iceberg there. What a day, woo. Hey, there you are, Uzi. The Treasury was like, yeah, I really did not expect them to go that far, man. Like I saw that initial rise up and I was like, okay, that's pretty good, but I don't know how much this is going to really change things. I don't know. Like I don't feel like the Federal Reserve is going to back off the taper, for instance. I don't know. But we should go back and see if there's metrics about the taper. If it changed. Or if we can go and look at what the analysts, I'm sure that Goldman Sachs and them will say something. So almost 5K on both sides of that at the 10-year. You say the 10-year yield is going to go to the August 19th low. I do think that some of this rise in the treasuries here was because of risk off sentiment in the equity indexes. So if the equity indexes bottom out here and we're getting to the point where it's kind of looking like it could be, then I'm sure that the treasuries will give some of this back up. I only got 12 ticks out of that, in and out early, figured she was done, went about my day, making vet appointments and stuff, sit back down, take a break, and make a yikes. Yeah. Well, because the E-mini basically started selling when they opened up again. So. Nope, that is another, that's a more aggressive push. Ouch. I think I should manage this before it gets there. I had to go buy a stupid door. I think that they might still get stuck around this 20 area for a while in the treasuries, but I don't want to see them like trade 5K on both sides, come down, and then shoot right back up on it, right? Okay, I guess we're going to find out if something really happens at 44, 43, huh? They don't make male HVAC closet doors, so I bought a regular bedroom door for cheap, and I'm going to cut it to... Oh, man, that sounds like a pain in the butt. Schumer says we're making great progress on the reconciliation bill. Well, that should be a positive for them, right? Okay. Okay. If it breaks, I'm going short. I'm worried that that's one of those push lower exhaustion moves, because like right back to 44.50. If you were selling on that move down, you're probably a little disappointed and nervous right now, right? Though I'm not necessarily seeing anything. Well, actually, that's interesting. It does look like that the market orders are favoring buyers a little bit here still. Surprisingly enough, the directionality of the flow never really got excessively negative. So, yeah, I know you're not in a trade yet. Bloomberg Treasuries rally. Did you see the Bloomberg? So, by the way, I didn't tell you guys, but I went and I got the Bloomberg subscription. Not like the terminal or anything, but I did. They were offering a good deal, so I have like the Bloomberg digital subscription right now. Although I will say I haven't gotten, like, the day that I got it, there was a bunch of things that I wanted to read, and it did. But then since then, it's been like there's nothing all that good on it. Like, if I'm paying that much, I should have like a bunch of stories every day that I find really useful, but apparently not. So here's the story that I see on Bloomberg right now. The Treasury yield curve steepened as weaker than expected increase in consumer prices took the pressure off the Federal Reserve to begin paring its stimulus soon. Long-term Treasury yields expanded their gap above those with shorter maturities as the inflation report pushed off bets on the start of the Fed's asset purchase tapering that put the rate hikes further off traders' radar. And it's just talking about what happened, right? Well, if we go and come and look at our spreads, what actually happened? Like, look at our 30-year spreads, right? Yes, they did steepen initially, and since then, no. Since then, no. So the yield curve went both ways. But if I come back out here, and we come back, when did they start steepening? Or flattening? What was going on over here in the E-mini? Now look at the E-mini chart. Look, they flattened because the E-mini went risk off. You say it's really useful? Tell me, is there like a section of the Bloomberg website that you really like? Like, if I come here to menu and I just go to or where do I do? Markets, fixed income, the fix. And that's where I go. But I haven't seen other, when I go onto their homepage, like, most of the stories just aren't interesting to me. CPI, okay, well, we could read that later, but I'd rather read the zero hedge one about that. I don't know. Maybe I should cancel it. You use the economic calendar? Oh, yeah, let's go look at that. Because when I was trying to look at it the other day, let's see here. Where do I get the economic calendar? Markets. Hey, I know I've seen it. I'm gonna try and get another buy and try and push out the other side here finally. Where do I find it? Watch list. Because when I looked at it the other day, it was like there was nothing on it. Bloomberg economic calendar. There we go. Oh, see what's wrong. It seems like something's wrong. I go to the economic calendar, it says nothing. It shows me nothing. Maybe I need to take the shields down. Because it's provided by investing.com though, that's why. Yeah. Filters, I don't want all these countries. I want the United States, right? Oh my gosh. You freaking kidding me? I have to click all of them. That's a pain in the butt. That's a real pain in the butt, right? Singapore, no. Nope, nope, nope. Only America. America is best. Apply. Cool. There's a 3-month bill auction today. That's useful. Select all. Apply. There we go. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's better than the ones that I already got, but it's not bad. Okay. Buying already fizzling out here? Looks like a little bit of a fight right now. Oh, I didn't notice that the CPI numbers diverged from the PPI numbers. Probably, though, because it's really like shipping and stuff that's the problem right now. He's stepping up to it. Pretty strong bid there. Interesting that these aren't reacting. Look at that. So he tried stacking up there to try and push it, and they didn't go. They flipped it back around. If that 20 half falls, I think we could get a quick move back. Kind of depends. I guess what I'm making is a technical analysis prediction there, but I've seen that before where if you get a spot where these, that could be a spoof and flip. Probably he's taking it because he thinks the ES is going to go lower. What do you think? They've been hanging out here for a while. Today's trade will be the Treasury notes. Well, yeah. I mean, we already missed the day's trade, right? It's done and over with. Meh. If I'm going to take that trade, I really need the E-mini to find a better bottom. Gensler says stable coins might as well be securities. Ooh. They're not going to like that. Something that concerns me there, well, there's the 22. There's a lot at 22, but I'm just noticing that they kind of moved up there without much fanfare. So trading into 22 pretty aggressively. Yeah. This doesn't look like it's going to stop at any time today, does it? Okay, they're doing that. They're doing that as the S&P 500 moves a little bit lower, so. AO says lots of buyers. Yeah. Okay, Jay finally got stopped out of his trade. That sucks. Okay, well, they went through it, so that means you're short now, right? Goldman, some CPI declines could reverse in coming months if COVID cases continue to fall. Shelter may see a further pickup. Used car prices fell, but new car inventories are heavily depleted, and we expect to see some further strength in this category during the fall, which was a much more quantitative way of saying what I was saying earlier, that in a little while it might, there might be still some inflationary pressures in certain areas. It skipped you. Oh, you didn't get filled? Well, look, now you filled. Now you filled. I'm having a hard time reading the E-minis still, I think, because of the volume being split. Jay is apparently going to try and buy the dip again. It's unfortunate that he didn't get before. It would have almost got to his profit. Like, it would have been a perfect trade. Would have been a perfect trade there. And then he probably wouldn't have taken another trade until this push down. So, but it would have been really good. So some of that was just bad luck on his part, huh? So there was a little bit of trouble at 22, but then they've recovered that, and they're still on the upside here in the treasuries. How far can this go, man? Are we past? Yeah, we're well past them in the 10-year. Well past them in the 30-year. 5-year, not. Oh, I need to move this over. 5-year for sure, too. So the next spot to even look at would be like 28, which would have been the high from after the bad jobs numbers. You've got nothing after 14. 28. 28. What is it in the 30? I need to zoom out. Oh, they're well past it in the 30. The 30, there was 18 and maybe 25. There's a bunch of pivots around here, but 165.03. Some of those are a little out there. You say it's got to be climaxing up here. So this, like this right here in the 10-year is like, this is not the first time we've seen that. By the way, is this happening? Is gold moving higher? It is. When you look at this, it kind of makes you wonder, is that the kick in the pants that gold needed to finally be, out of the I don't even know what the word you would use to describe it, but it's just like Wall Street has just been perennially negative on gold. Perennially, that's not even the right word. They don't like it for some reason. So, like, here's another thing. Like, we're up here at the highs, 23. 12,000 contracts have traded there? JP Morgan got in trouble for manipulating. Oh, yeah, that's probably easier to do it, too. Well, I don't know. The ES did break that 44-43 area, but it's been pretty nonchalant since then. I don't know. I'm probably crazy, but I still feel like that there's some potential for some significant reversion in the treasuries here. I definitely see the levels and everything. Like the 30-year could come back to 163.24 or so. But that just seems really crazy given the trend that we're seeing, right? I thought I saw something on Twitter there, but nope. There's not too much to say here now, is there? 12,000 contracts on... Yeah, like ZV is just like... The Treasury guys are like really going ham with it, don't you think? I really don't think that this CPI number changes anything for me. Like I expected it to be mostly in line. I would say it was maybe just, it was a little bit under. It's like, that's okay. I don't think that means the Federal Reserve isn't going to taper or that their interest rate rises are going to be further out. I think that in order for that to happen, that I would have to see like some more Delta variant kind of stuff, you know? But the inflation being tame right now is just like a reason, like that should be good for equities and everything else, right? But I guess the bigger issue right now is that the equities don't look so hot right now, do they? And even though they're still very much chilling at 44, 43. So I can't really say if they're going to reverse or go lower or what. So I haven't, yeah. I mean, this is where I'm having a problem. Like, I really see some good reasons for it to revert, but the way that it's trading, like the order flow, is much more in line with a trend day. Like, it shouldn't make sense to sell it. But that's just the issue that I'm having, is that I didn't think that we were going to get as much movement off of this as we did. So what is it about that I'm not understanding that creates so much volume? Does that really mean that the Federal Reserve can't raise rates? I don't feel like that it does. No. The CPI confirmed that the inflation is transitory. That CPI number is probably the biggest win for the inflation is transitory side. The thing is it probably isn't in transitory. At least like the really bad inflation is transitory. My hope is that when we come back, that it's just going to be like standard inflation, not deflation. We start getting prints below spot 3, and then it's like, that's not good. Through something fundamentally off aggressive selling, you'd think you'd be sky high here, but it's all passive. Commentators are spinning it to the other side, at least on Fox, that the inflation is not transitory? No. If somebody is saying that that number means that the inflation is not transitory, they're talking out their ass, because if the inflation is not transitory, these treasuries would be selling twice as hard to the downside, right? If that CPI was higher than expected, they'd be selling the ever living daylight out of this thing. Yeah, okay, so here's one. There seems to be some optimism ahead of the US CPI on Tuesday, where street forecasts bake in a slight downtick in the year-over-year change. We would be very careful about chasing any inflation has peaked driven rally coming off the CPI on Tuesday, as 1, this won't deter the Fed, and 2, the market has a myriad of other problems it needs to address. Thank you. That's freaking exactly what I think right there. I'm tempted. It's giving it to me. It's like, don't you want to buy 27 here? You're no longer short?
Block sell.
Ouch.
Block sell.
You got scared off? You say it looks more like a stop run? You might be very much right about that. I mean, somebody is selling this like really hard now. There was 2 very large block orders that came through at 21 and 20.5. I don't mind being a chicken. How am I supposed to have any confidence if in your level if they go and they break your level and then you're like, I'm not short anymore? They took too long. I mean, I guess they did take too long, right? The humidity's like down there. I don't know. Yes, the 2s and 30s curve spread -6 basis points on the day. The largest one we've seen in a while. It flattened a lot. Like it just flattened a lot. There's a lower low. Is it good to be quick to regret? I don't know. You still regret it? It seems to me that the price doesn't actually matter. It seems to me that people that want to buy or people that want to sell come in there largely with a plan about what they're going to do on the day based on the economic news and so forth. And what the specific price is doesn't matter a whole lot to them most of the time. That's what it seems to me. Ooh, what's that? Interesting. That actually might be tradable right there. My robot has one at 44.41, so I would just consider that one good enough. And I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing in the 10-year here. That slip right there might be enough to flip us. Well, you know what? What should we put as the title here? CPI triggers Treasury rally. We call it, we should use some word, massive Treasury rally. Massive Treasury rally. Yes, there we go. It's massive, guys. You seen how big this CPI move is? Well, it's time for me to go, guys. So, okay, stream today. I'm liking my robot. I mean, most of what's going on here is like luck and everything, but like he's doing what he's supposed to. It's not bad. It made money. It's made like $250. So like that's not bad, right? Hey, see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime,